Hello there. Hola, ¿cómo estás? This is your man, Fusu, and today I'm gonna speak about traveling to the Philippines. The 10 best airlines to travel from the United States of America to the Philippines. Let me see, it's a little shadow here. Yeah, this is much better. Okay, now, as you can see, somebody will probably say, who is this guy? This guy is black. What did he know about traveling to the Philippines? Well, I'm not Filipino, and I'm also not Aita. Okay? I'm just a black guy that has traveled to the Philippines several billion, gazillion, quadrillion, zibillion times. Alright? Using different airlines. Now, my girlfriend is from the Philippines, and because of her, I have traveled to the Philippines a whole lot. Okay? And I'm an experimental traveler, so I've taken several different airlines, sometimes based strictly on budget. Okay? You can always get budget prices, but sometimes if I see an airline has a good price, it don't matter if I have to fly through California and then to Malaysia, which I did, and then to Philippines. I've done it. I will fly if the price is good. All right. So let me see what else I could say about traveling to the Philippines. Well, traveling to the Philippines from somebody living in the East Coast of the United States, like I'm from New York. If you live anywhere in the East Coast, from let's say from Boston, New York City, Philadelphia area. If where else? Atlanta, Miami, anywhere in the East Coast. Most likely, the hub airport would be New York's JFK, or New York's EWR, which is what you call Newark Airport. Okay. Now, if you're traveling from the West Coast, let's say Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, most of the time your hub airports will be either Los Angeles or San Francisco to the Philippines. Now, if you're traveling from, let's say, the southern states like New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, Tennessee, those states, most likely you'll fly out of Dallas. Okay. Now, what else can I say? These here, I'm about to list 10 airlines that I've flown personally to the Philippines. All right, and I'm gonna list them from number 10 to number 1. Number 10 was the airlines I would say I didn't enjoy the most. And the number 1 will be the one that I enjoy the most. All right. So I will rate them on star systems, which means if I love the airline, they get 10 stars, and if I hate the airlines, they will get 1 star, even though I'm not going to give anybody 1 star. All right. Okay. So now I will judge the airlines on 3 items. All right, or three categories: prices, especially for budget travelers; service and aircraft; okay, and length of travel. All right, so let's get started. Number 10. If you are a budget traveler and you're traveling from anywhere in the United States, especially from the East Coast or the West Coast, fly Air China. Okay? Now, Air China is most likely owned by the Chinese government, and it's the cheapest airline you could fly from United States to most parts of Asia, including the Philippines. All right? Now, their prices are cheap, but their service is questionable. All right. My experience with them, I had a flight from New York to Shanghai, and then Shanghai to Manila, and their service was okay. You know, I mean, from New York to Shanghai, I flew in Boeing 747-8, a beautiful plane, but I got a big surprise when I fell asleep like 3-4 hours into the flight, and then I guess around 5-6 hours into the flight, we landed in Alaska. Okay, I thought it was in Shanghai already, so I woke up and I'm like, where are we? And then my seatmate was like, they made a fuel stop in Alaska, in Anchorage. So that was a big shock to me. All right, what else can I say? From Shanghai to Manila, they put you in a Boeing 737, which is a smaller aircraft. All right, their verdict, I'll give them 5 out of 10 stars. All right, and one thing about Air China is you get no smiles. You know, it seems like they're too serious. Okay, so let's move on from Air China. Number 9 is Malaysian Airlines. Now, number 9, I love Malaysian Airlines. Okay, one time I was being cheap and I bought a ticket on Malaysian to the Philippines, and it turned out to be the longest journey I've ever taken to fly to the Philippines. Okay, I flew from New York to Los Angeles and caught an A380, humongous aircraft. Then we flew from from Los Angeles to Kuala Lumpur, which was a long flight, and then from Kuala Lumpur to Manila, they put you in a Boeing 737. It was good. But the thing is, it is the longest way you could possibly fly from New York to Manila. Your prices is good, your food is good, your service is great, but the journey itself, man, it was a killer. It was a 2-day journey. Okay, let's move on to number 8. Number 8 is China Southern Airlines. Now, China Southern, I think, is the best Chinese airline to fly from United States through China to the Philippines. I'm talking about China have three airlines that belong to mainland China. They have Air China, they have China Eastern, and China Southern, and they all fly from United States to China and to transit to other countries in Asia. But China Southern, their prices is great. Okay, I flew with them from JFK to Guangzhou. It was an Airbus A380. It was a beautiful flight. They have good service, good food. What else I could say about them? But the layover in Guangzhou was kind of long, and also they put you in a 737 from Guangzhou to Manila. All right, I will give 6.5 stars out of 10. I mean, it was much better than Air China. Okay, number 7. Let's move on to 7. Number 7 is Asiana Airlines of South Korea. Now, Asiana is cheaper than Korean Airlines. Okay, they fly out of New York, they fly out of Chicago, they fly out of, I believe, San Francisco, and also Los Angeles. So Asiana was a great experience for me. That was the first time I ever flew through Korea. Now, from New York to Seoul Incheon, which is 14 hours, was on a Airbus A380. Okay, great plane, great service, great Korean food. It was an awesome journey. All right, and then from Incheon to Manila, they put you in a smaller plane, Airbus A320. I didn't enjoy that. Okay, But the verdict, I will give them 6.5 stars out of 10. All right. Let's move on to number 6. Now, number 6 is China Airlines. No relation with the country of China. China Airlines actually belong to Taiwan. Okay. Now, their prices, it's not too cheap. I would say it's moderate. Okay. Now, I had a flight with China Airlines from New York JFK to Taipei, which was a long flight. All right. Their service is good. I flew in it was a Boeing 777-200 LR, and from New York to Taipei. All right. And then from Taipei to Manila, they put you in an old Airbus A330. All right. Their service is good, but China Airlines is the only airline that I had a little bit of issue with. They lost one of my luggages, and I did get it back, but it took like 2 days before I got it sent to me in the Philippines. So it wasn't that great of an experience. So I'll give them 6.5 stars out of 10. Now, from number 5 to number 1, here's when the prices start going up. Okay. From number 5 to number 1 are not budget airlines. Their prices are expensive. So let's move on to number 5. Now, number 5 is Emirates. United Arab Emirates. Of course, they got some of the best planes money can buy. So I flew to the Philippines through Dubai on Emirates, and it was a lovely flight from New York to Dubai on an Airbus A380. Okay, now first thing I gotta let you know is Emirates is expensive. Okay, it is super expensive. Okay, from the layover in Dubai I think it was less than 3 hours, and then from Dubai to Manila, they put you in a 777. Emirates got money. Okay, they got beautiful planes and all that stuff. So I'll give them the verdict. I'll give them 7 out of 10 stars. I mean, they deserve more than 7, but the thing is, Emirates is super expensive. All right, let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is Cathay Pacific. Now, Cathay Pacific, I could say the longest flight I ever had in my life, I took it on Cathay Pacific from New York to Hong Kong. Okay, I was going to the Philippines and I flew Cathay Pacific from New York to Hong Kong, and then from Hong Kong to Manila. Now, flying from New York to Hong Kong is no joke. Okay, it's 16 hours and 15 minutes. Now, this flight, the trajectory of this flight, you take off from New York, you fly north. Okay, you fly north over the Great Lakes into Canada. You overfly the entire country of Canada from south to north. You fly straight over the North Pole. Okay, you fly over the North Pole, and then you head into Russian Siberia. You fly over Russian Siberia into Mongolia. Yes, you fly over Mongolia, over the Gobi Desert into China. You overfly most of China before you make it into Hong Kong. It was a long, stressful flight, but it was worth it. Okay, now, what can I say about their planes? Cathay Pacific from New York to Hong Kong, the 16 hours and 15 minutes was on a Boeing 777-200 ER, and was it ER or LR? Sometimes I don't really know. And from Hong Kong to Manila, they put you in an Airbus A350. That was the first experience I ever had in an Airbus A350. Beautiful plane. Okay. Now I'll give Cathay Pacific eight stars out of 10. 8 out of 10 stars. They have great service, but it's expensive. Cathay Pacific is expensive. It's no budget airline. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Now, number 3 is Korean Airlines. Now, Korean Airlines is a great airline to fly from New York or Los Angeles into Asia, into the Philippines. Now, Korean Airlines is expensive. Okay, it's no budget airline. It's expensive. Okay, I had a flight on Korean Airlines from New York to Seoul Incheon on 747-8. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful aircraft. Okay, their service is good. Okay, their food is good. Their food is great, not just good. Okay. Now, Korean Airlines is more expensive than Asiana, even though it's the same country and same point to point from New York to Incheon, but it's more expensive. But their service is great. Okay, so what else? From Incheon to Manila, they put you in a Boeing 777-300, which is a great aircraft. Okay, I have a video of that. If you check my my channel, you'll see a flight of me in Korean from Incheon to Manila. Beautiful, beautiful video. Check it out. Okay, now I'll give them 8.5 stars out of 10. It's a great airline to fly into the Philippines. Now, number 2. Now, I know Filipinos are gonna hate me for saying this, but number 2 is Philippine Airlines. Philippine Airlines is the only airline that flies directly from New York into Manila. I've taken that flight before. It was awesome, but I'm sorry, it's not number 1. Okay? Now, the reason Philippines cannot get number 1 spot is Philippines Airlines is dumb expensive. I don't know why. Why Philippine Airlines is so expensive. Okay, they use, of course, the Boeing 777-200 long range. Their service is great, of course, beautiful flight attendants, but we're not talking about beauty contest here. Okay, we're talking about service. Okay, so Philippine Airlines gets to be number 2. All right, now if you don't mind long flights from New York, direct flight from New York to Manila is almost 17 hours. Almost 17 hours, so it's no joke. All right, now the verdict, I'll give them 9.5 stars out of 10. All right, I would highly recommend it because it's the fastest way to fly from New York to Manila, but it's not the best way. Now, let's move on to number 1. Drum roll. Number 1 is A&A Airlines of Japan, All Nippon Airlines of Japan. Now, I've flown with All Nippon 2 times, 2 round trips to the Philippines. Now, they got the best service. Okay, they got the best 777s from New York to Tokyo, Narita. Your planes are good and clean. They got the best service. Respectful flight attendants. They are just awesome. Okay, and the reason ANA beats Philippines Airlines to be number 1 is their prices is actually a little lower than Philippine Airlines. Okay, What else can I say about them? They are just top notch. They are polite. The layover in Tokyo is amazing. Okay, you don't spend more than 3 hours in Tokyo. All right, everything is great over there. Okay, and then from Tokyo into Manila, they fly you in a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Awesome plane. Okay, it's land. I don't know what to say about ANA. It's simply the best airline you could fly from the United States into most of Asia, I would say. All right. Now I'm gonna give ANA 10 out of 10 stars. It's simply the best. All right. So let me end this here. My name is Yao Fosu. If you like this video, check out my other videos. Hit the like button, share. You know what I'm saying? Just keep up with me and things will be all right. Okay? Have a great day. Cheers.